Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is the last day of 2019. And what a better day to try to stretch your mind, wrap your mind around something which, to be frank with you, it sounds ridiculous on the face of things. It sounds like, are you guys kidding me? How could this possibly be? But once you take a look at some things and think about some things outside of your normal paradigms, you may find yourself saying, this is ridiculous, or is it? With me today is my friend David. I just forgot your last name, David Weiss, right?
David
David
Weiss,
Weiss
yes.
from the DITRH, which is in Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole podcast. He's been on with us before. Welcome back, David. And I know you were just out at the Flat Earth conference in Dallas. How'd that go?
It went well. My YouTube channel is DITRH, the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And my podcast is The Flat Earth Podcast. Simple.
Perfect. So
Right.
Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole on YouTube and the Flat Earth podcast.
Right. It's just the initials of Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH.
Perfect.
I gave you a link. Hopefully you put it in the show notes. Okay, awesome.
And I have to give David personal thanks because the first place I heard David was on Talk is Jericho, Chris Jericho's podcast. And that led to me contacting Chris and being on that podcast as well. And Chris and I have been good friends since then. So Dave, thanks for that hookup.
Yeah, no problem. As a matter of fact, I have another Chris interview we did a while ago. It's coming out next week or this week.
Perfect. What a great guy. He's definitely one of the good guys out there.
Absolutely.
So how was the convention? How was hanging out a little bit with Owen Benjamin?
The conference was amazing. Owen was fantastic. You know, the guy is who he says he is. Just being around like-minded people, being, knowing that you don't live on a heliocentric ball kind of alienates you from the people around you in your life. But it's getting so big now that we're meeting new people every day. There's people, we're finding more and more people. Went to the conference. There was, 800 people that are awake and aware to where we don't live. We can say that. And the conversations were amazing. There was never a boring moment, and it was very little sleep.
Well, excellent. Sounds like a good time was had by all.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the presentations were great. On you can just look up Flat Earth Conference YouTube page, and all the presentations are there for anybody that wants to see.
And you gave a presentation, right?
I did.
Excellent.
Yeah, we did. We kind of did the podcast live, and we went into a new rabbit hole, which not that new. A couple other YouTubers had brought it up years ago, but nobody ever really got anywhere with it. And that is that big rockets are helium blimps.
It's the craziest thing I've ever heard of. But before we jump into that, you turned me on when when I had you on the show last time. I got your Flat Earth app, and it looks really cool and it seems really cool, but maybe you could just show it to people and promote it a little bit and kind of just tell me what I need to do with it. I mean, I've got mine, it's right here, but yeah, it looks cool. I just don't know what to do with it.
All right, so this is a but there it is. That's the challenge. Get the app. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's on Apple, and it's in the Google Play Store.
Oh, now, David, I was looking at your channel the other night, and I saw a headline, something about, are the big rockets balloons? And I chuckled to myself. I'm like, oh, boy, what's he really trying to do? What is this clickbait about? And then I looked at it, and I thought, this has got to be the dumbest thing ever. And by the end of the video, I'm thinking, holy crap, man, are they really doing what it looks like they're doing? Please take the wheel and talk to us about whether NASA, SpaceX, these big rockets are really balloons.
Yeah. So again, there's people that go see these rocket launches. When you watch a rocket launch, you're a minimum of 3, 5, 10 miles away, and there's a row of trees in between you. So what they're launching, sometimes they launch miniatures. Sometimes they launch a balloon. Sometimes these launches, nobody sees them and they're completely CGI. They're mixing it up all of the time. But big rockets don't exist because the bigger a rocket gets, the more fuel it has, the heavier it is, and it gets to the point where it can't take off. So, these amateur rockets that are like 15, 20 feet tall, you can wrap your arms around them on the thickness. That's about as big as a rocket can get. You start getting bigger and you run into this, I forget what the name of the problem is, but it's the size, weight, versus the thrust. And
Mhm.
it doesn't work. I just noticed the the balloon behind you. Nice graphic.
And it's
Um,
supposed, it's very sketchy cut and paste because that's a little joke on how NASA does their cut and paste stuff. So,
yeah. So there, again, when you look into NASA and look at all of the fakery, if you look at the ISS footage we have, if you look at the moon landing, analysis, other than, the globe side has this one NVIDIA breakdown, which is just nonsense. But if you look at the real footage that we have, they're hanging from wires, CGI glitches, all sorts of problems. Just the other day, an astronaut dropped something and it fell. Second time that's happened this year. Okay, it fell and he caught
wait a
it
minute, on the ISS
on
feed.
the IS. He's fiddling with this little thing and he dropped it and he had to catch it really quick.
So on zero gravity, it fell.
Right. And another one,
Wow.
he was given a tour of the IS and he was in the bathroom and he went to get this screw off the wall and he dropped it. You hear it hit the floor. He looks down, reaches down and picks it up.
What do people that want us to believe it's the ISS say when you point these things out?
They said it's a pocket of gravity.
A pocket of gravity.
Yes, gravity comes in pockets. Didn't you know?
Ooh, a little. It's nice to have a little gravity in your pocket.
Yeah, it's a pocket of gravity is what they say. Or they
Wow.
don't address it at all, therefore it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah, they won't come to the table with us. That Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, the whole thing. They will not address us. There's shill channels, Psyop Mandan, who if you search flat Earth, this guy comes up at the top. He's this smug, scripted idiot that just attacks everybody. Like he attacked my channel. I get 10,000 views on the video, all idiotic comments. Most of them are bots, but he will never talk to anybody live. They can't talk to us live because there is no defense for the stuff that we bring up.
Yeah.
It's just people's willful ignorance. When I say willful ignorance, they're just unwilling to look. They're
Yeah.
unwilling to look. They're like, this is, and I was that way at the beginning.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch a 1 minute video. So stupid, not worth my time. And you're banned from my social media for even suggesting it.
Well, because of you, David, right over here in a box that I've just opened up, but I haven't got to really get into it yet. There sits a brand new Nikon P1000.
Yeah, awesome. Very good.
So I want to be serious and diligent about this and check it out for myself.
Our optics have outgrown their lies. They say, ships going over the horizon, they disappear from the bottom up, but then the ship is completely gone. They'll say it's gone from the bottom up. You're a terrestrial viewer looking at a terrestrial object. You zoom in and there it is. But here's the other trick. There's more than one reason that ships and things in the distance disappear from the bottom up. There's compression. There's the angular view. Things that are near the ground disappear far faster than things up higher. You stand up taller, you can see farther. Here's an experiment we did on a Home Depot floor. Beautiful cement flat floor. We took a red brick and we put it down and we put our iPhone down on the floor with the camera right down next to the floor. And we pulled it away farther and farther and farther until the brick got so small, it disappeared across a smooth floor. No waves, no atmospheric distortion, no nothing. It's gone. Then we stack 3 bricks on top of that. Guess what? We can see those 3 bricks, but the 4th brick is missing. So it's disappearing from the bottom up. We have experiments where we take we're looking across a flat table and we can make things disappear. We slide a quarter.
You do it with a quarter. I've done it with a quarter.
You saw it with a quarter. It was on the app recently. If you go back into the archives, it's amazing. You lay it down, it's gone, but then we zoom in and there it is again.
It's amazing stuff. It really is. But I don't know if you can show us some of the footage you've got on the balloons, or let's talk specifically about, you showed folks, I don't know if he can show it to you or not, but you can see the shuttle and stuff bouncing.
Yeah. So first we're going to look at a photo. This photo right here is from NASA. Now, clear your head of your beliefs, because belief is the enemy of knowing. You're looking down on this thing. What does that look like? A space shuttle or a pool toy?
Wow.
Yeah. And then that arrow is pointing to the circle on the right. There's a dent. That's a canvas. That's a blow up toy. Okay. These things are, this, when this launches, it goes up, it rolls over, it goes out of, in 2 minutes, it's out of distance, it's out of sight. And then it's gone in the ocean, whether they blow it up, whatever they do, but then they just start showing you a cartoon. And
David, I was in the Air Force for 7 years, and I know a little bit about airframes. And if this thing is going to be blasting off into outer space, they're not going to release that thing with an aerodynamic, anomaly like a big dent in it like that.
absolutely not. That would tear the thing apart. So here's another thing. The SR-71, the spy
Mhm.
plane, the thing is designed like a razor blade. If you're looking at it straight on, you can barely see the thing because
I've been in one.
yeah, okay. So, and it goes Mach 2.3, and it heats up to 500 degrees. When it lands, it's like the outer skin is 500 degrees. 500 degrees will burn your turkey. Why don't you know, and also it expands. It leaks fuel until it heats up because it expands up to 6 inches just from the heat. So they account for that expansion and have like loose fittings, right? That thing is just so aerodynamic. Look at the space shuttle.
I know
Look at the
so
space shuttle.
stupid.
Look at that PVC pipe. Look at all of it. It's a garbage can flying in space. And this thing doesn't go Mach 2.3. This thing goes Mach 23. Okay.
Just look at all the ridges on there. It actually looks like a balloon.
It is a balloon
with tape and vinyl and stuff taped over it. I mean, look at this stuff. I mean, even the windows don't look like they're even real windows.
Yeah.
This is crazy. And I am not on David's side. I was almost said yet, but I'm not on David's side. But this is, to me, we're just getting started. Keep going, David, please.
Yeah. So I'm trying to pull up my, do you guys seeing my space shuttle bounce video?
Yes.
Okay. So wait, where were we? We're talking about it going really fast. God, I forgot what I was going to say.
It goes. You said Mach 22 or something like that.
Yeah, which is absolutely impossible. The aerodynamics would rip the thing to shreds, but they don't care. So we're gonna watch the space shuttle bounce here. I'm gonna show you jump forward a little bit. So also notice whenever there's a launch and they're showing you videos from the time it ignites to the time it goes up, there's one cut. Okay. It cuts like 6 or 7 times. They never show a complete launch. You got this close up, 2 cuts, edit 2, right? It hasn't even cleared the tower, cleared the 3 cuts, right? So this, and I don't even know how much thrust that is. That little fire is lifting 4.5 million pounds. You know how much 4.5 million pounds is? You can't even fathom. Edit 6. And where is this camera? Where is that camera shooting from? 6 edits in 37 seconds.
It's the same place that the cameras that got the limb leaving the moon.
Yeah, correct. So 4.5 million pounds. I'm going to jump forward. Now watch. Now these sparks are to ignite any leaky gas so it doesn't pool anywhere. Okay, well, I'll buy that.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah. So watch the thing. First, what is the space shuttle sitting on? And look at this fence here. I want to know about this fence in a minute. We're going to talk about the fence in a minute. But watch the space shuttle. It's just igniting. It goes up. It goes up. 4.5 million pounds is in motion upwards. And then it comes downwards. Okay. To change for the momentum of 4.5 million pounds is insane. And that was slow. Here it is.
And then to get
time.
it going back up again.
Yeah, the amount. So think about this. You ever been in a hurricane, a real hurricane?
I'm from Florida. I've been there.
Yeah, you ever see what 150 mile an hour wind does to a fence?
Yep.
Okay, how this thing has to exert 4.5 higher than 4.5 million pounds of thrust to get it to start lifting off, and that fence doesn't even shake. That fence would be pulverized.
But why is that heavy airframe bouncing?
Because it's a balloon.
Wow.
It's a blimp. This is a lighter than air ship. Okay. All of that smoke is just coming out of the ground. We've caught them blowing this stuff out of the ground. It's to obscure what's going on. Now, sometimes you'll notice there's a thick smoke trail between the rocket and the ground. Other times there's only smoke at takeoff and then there's no smoke. They're using different trick techniques. When there's no smoke, I believe that there's a lot of CGI going on. Or it's just a balloon, you know, and there's really no thrust coming out of it. But you guys can't hear the sound. Can you hear the sound on this or no?
No.
You can't hear the sound. So this is another thing that I accidentally found out. Here's another launch during the day. Look at the bounce. Up and up. It bounces up and down.
It's bouncing. It's 4.5 million pounds.
Yeah, and so look, the camera's zooming outwards. This thing is going so slow. Everybody's wondered when they saw the Apollo launches, why is it going so slow? And the NASA fanboys will go, because it's so heavy. It's got to speed up. It takes time. Now watch this. When you hear that, see that spray? That's when the thrusters are letting go, right? You with me? That's when they release. But if you can hear the sound at the exact same time, you hear that sound, and it's either but 20, I said 20 miles. It's more like 35 miles away.
Right.
And you hear it at the same time. If it was only 20 miles away, it would take 90 seconds for that sound to catch up to the light.
So what are you saying there, David?
I'm saying that it's a Hollywood movie nonsense. You can hear people in the background, you know, the trolls have two responses. They say they were using a microphone on the ship, but the microphone can't hear those deafening engines. It could hear the release of those, you know, explosive bolts. Or they say it's a telescopic microphone from the launch area. Again, utter nonsense. This is a balloon floating in space.
So the shuttle and the big booster rocket are both balloons. Okay.
Yeah, they're just balloons. So here I'm going to jump to this video.
Yep. And there's more, folks. There's going to be a lot more proof. And here comes. This is a good one right here.
Yeah. So this is one. Now, again, clear your head of the lies of what you've been told and look at what you're seeing. They're supposedly they launched. They said that they did an orbit, but let's say they didn't do an orbit. And they're catching up to the shuttle. I'm going to just jump forward here. This is them from the orbiting space shuttle filming the falling empty tank, which weighs 28,000 pounds.
But it's not.
Does that
falling.
look like a 29 tons, 29,000 pounds? Okay. Does that look like 29,000 pounds plummeting out of the sky, or does that look like a blimp?
Yeah. I mean, can you show that guy what it looks like when the guy jumps off that platform? Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Do I have that? Is that later on?
Yeah, I think it was earlier.
I'll go back.
Because it's so profound. Like, watch how fast this guy drops.
Right.
He's 250 pounds.
Yeah, and he's not even sped up yet. Okay. But the trolls will say that's because the rocket is still going like Mach 20 sideways, and they're just trailing it. So it's kind of in a declining orbit. That fat tin can, you know, with see the metal on it. You see that piece of paper that just flew by it?
A piece just
But that thing would be spinning and turning. It couldn't go that fast. It's not aerodynamic. It's going sideways. It's turning. It's a blimp.
Ooh. It's certainly interesting. Certainly very, very interesting.
So we noticed something else on this one. I think this is the video where we saw something else. Something else showed up in the frame. Maybe this isn't the one. Hold on. Oh yeah. All right. So this is the part of their wizardry. Okay. There's different shuttles. There's a shuttle that's made of metal that people can, you know, go and see and throw a rock at. There's a tank.
I've touched it.
Yeah. There's a tank that they transport from a canal down through some towns. And that's a metal tank. Okay. And that way all these people can see it and it's on the news and, you know, it's like, oh, they're transporting the tank and, you know, but when it comes time to launch, they just use a balloon. And people are like, well, I touched a tank, but that tank isn't what they're launching. They're launching a balloon.
Wow.
Yeah. Giant rockets do not exist. Airships are a problem for the globe because airships use very little energy and can travel great distances, and they would end up going where no man is supposed to go, and that would be beyond the shoreline of Antarctica.
Well, so far we've got the space shuttle 45 million bouncing up and down.
4.5 million pounds.
Bouncing up and down. And this is why I love this one. Here's a rocket, right?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's a balloon.
It's a balloon. Now, David, did you create that yourself?
I did not. This is some footage. Now, again, I don't trust this footage. You see all the specs and, old, that to me looks like a film effect. I think that this is put out there. I don't know what reason. Sometimes they release truth just because I think that they're required to. This is just interesting, but you'll see here is a SpaceX rocket that launched, and I think they had an accident and it blew up. I don't think they did this on purpose, but watch this. This is a giant SpaceX rocket. It explodes. Where'd it go? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. This is actually a real rocket. It's a joke.
Okay. Those are real rockets.
Those are real rockets. This is at I think it's a Russian museum, and the rocket got deflated.
So why would they display that?
I don't know. I don't know.
But that's clearly a balloon.
Yeah. And this is a 29-ton metal tank falling out of the sky. And there's it is balloon if you're an F troop person growing up.
Yeah. I thought they were just going to say how. Because that's an
let me just find the one that we found. I think it's this one. So, and then we got one more after this, and then I'll let you guys investigate yourselves. All right, so this is them. Look, they're wobbling the camera. That's supposedly the window of the shuttle. Those seals don't look really airtight to me with those spaces in them.
No,
that is not a window on a spaceship. Okay, and this 58,000 pound, 59,000, whatever it is, it's going. You notice when the boosters came off that they didn't fly away. Like those boosters disconnect, they're still firing. They can't turn them off. Shouldn't they have just spun away, from that thrust? But they didn't. They just floated away. So they're purposely showing us that window. But here's a friend of mine, a channel called P-Brain, P-B-R-A-N-E, saying he was on the space shuttle. Looks pretty good, right?
It does.
Yeah. So he goofed on you because he filmed this from his front yard and just turned it upside down. Okay. This is how easy it is to fool people. If you took that tree line out right now and you said, that's the earth, you would say, yeah, I see a sphere. No, you don't. You see the sky. Your brain sees a sphere.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. That looks like an airplane window to me, and this could be below it. It could be above it. We don't know. We never see any land.
But it's still not falling.
It's not falling. 58,000 pounds falls very fast. And supposedly, do you know what happens? They don't recover this. It supposedly burns up and never hits the ground. Look how close it is to the clouds already. And it's supposed to burn up. When is it going to get hot? When is it going to burn?
So what do you think happens to them?
I think it's a balloon. I think it gets recovered.
Okay.
I think there's a recovery ship, and there we had a NASA guy on, I think it was NASA or some Air Force guy that said he used to watch on the right here. He used to do balloon recovery for these balloon satellites.
What the heck was that?
Yeah, so we don't know what that was. We zoom in and I'll increase the contrast in a minute, but it looks like some sort of craft. Now the trolls will say it's a piece of tin foil orbiting outside the window of the film, people that are filming this.
Of course it is.
Yeah, piece of tin foil. So again, some of these videos I've played upside down, I've played sideways. You can't tell the difference.
So you think it's like maybe something to recover that?
I think that it is a ship that's using some sort of cloaking technology, for lack of a better word. They have, skins on these things that project that they're like television screens that show you what's on the other side.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
So this
sense.
is with the contrast way up. So again, we don't know what this is, but one thing this proves is that thing isn't going Mach 20 sideways with a piece of tinfoil floating next to it. It's
That's
not
true.
falling. I could almost see landing gear or some sort of looks like legs on that thing and a
Yeah,
tail. Don't know what it is.
very interesting anomaly for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think I played this one.
It's a balloon.
Yeah. So there. So wait, that was the. I
Oh,
think
that's
I
the
did.
one
I
that
did
fell
play
over.
that one.
Yeah.
I did. So wait, hold on. There's one. Oh, this one. So this one is I like a lot.
Oh,
So
this is one. Yeah, this is a good one.
yeah, so this is when we went to the moon, and I remember these moon landings when I was very small. I'm like, God, it goes so slow. By the way, these are much better with the music I have in here. Go to my
Yeah.
channel, DITRH. Go to the NASA fakery list, or just scroll through my videos, and here it is taking off. Okay, look how slow that's going. We've
So
had
why is the balloon going so slow?
because it's a balloon.
Oh yeah.
It's an airship. It's a lighter than airship.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And they never go, the other thing the trolls say, well, if it's a balloon, how can it withstand those speeds? I'm like, it doesn't withstand those speeds. And look, here they are coming back from the moon a couple days later. They just came through the clouds. You got the capsule landing. We all remember this, right?
Yep.
So this thing lands, and we all see it on TV. The parachutes are out. Look, and I remember one of them like, why isn't that parachute opening? But then they're like, well, the landing speed is 28 miles per hour versus with two chutes open, it goes 29 miles per hour. As it lands and hits the water. But this is how they pull this trick off. They have the fake launch. They have all of the fake stuff on the moon. President Nixon on his landline phone can call the moon and talk with no delay. Amazing. We can't do that today. And then we found many videos of this. Look at this.
That's a C-130, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And they're dropping.
That one's not a C-130.
Yeah. There's other planes that drop these also. They do this all the time. So they drop these things out and land them. They come through the clouds. We never see it coming back from space. And when that thing, we see these animations of how hot it gets and the heat shield. I mean, that thing is free falling. It never rolls over. It doesn't go into a death spiral. And when it lands in the water, there's no steam. No steam.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah. And people just believe this because they want to believe. Because you said your buddy Steiger had his father work for NASA.
Right.
I'm not calling him a liar. This is what NASA did. NASA needs supposedly for the spaceship, let's say 10,000 parts. Maybe it's 100,000 parts. It's probably a lot of parts. Instead of going to 10 key suppliers and getting everything made, they went to 10,000 or 100,000 different companies. They ordered a bolt from this company and a piece of glass from this company and a little assembly, a hinge assembly from this company. And this way, everyone could say, my grandfather worked on the Apollo. He built parts of it, right? And they get all these things, and then they believe they went to space. We just had a
David, do you have that one too? And if you go on his site, you've got a video on there of some of these rockets going up and they start losing. They're not going straight, and you can see their balloons. And then there's that one that you showed, those kids shot up a balloon rocket.
Yeah. Don't give it away.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. Hold on. Let me share the screen again. So you have all these people that swear that their family members worked on
deep personal connection.
Yeah, and this is how they get you, because we're not calling them a liar. There's people that work at NASA that don't know what's going on.
That's the only hole in this idea to me about it being balloons, is it would require a lot of people to know and keep their mouth shut.
Well, it doesn't require as many as you think. The compartmentalization, there's people at NASA that work in the control rooms. And they even said that when they do simulations, they can't tell the difference between a real mission and a simulation. You know why? Because a
'Cause
real
they're
mission is a simulation.
yeah.
So these people that are in the control room, I would say 9 out of 10 of them have no idea. They think they're doing their little job. The one guy's watching the heartbeat of the astronaut. The other guy's watching the oil pressure. The other guy's watching the fuel level. And they're all talking and they legitimately believe. Think about this. You ever see fighter pilots? These guys, tip top shape, crew cut, strong, smart, know their math, know everything. And then you look at the astronauts. They're fat, they're idiots, they're morons. The people that work in NASA, they're most of them that are not in the know are the lowest intelligent people that if you talk to them and hear them talk, do you ever hear Don Pettit talk about why we can't go back to the moon?
It's ridiculous.
He sounds borderline retarded. Okay?
He does.
All right, so here's the video. These are SpaceX launches. Okay, these are a combination of CGI and balloons. Look at this, right? Where did all that dust come from?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they're blowing, and they always add a bird or cows into the picture. And look at the shadow. Watch this. Look at the dark shadow of this thing. It doesn't line up with the tower shadow, by the way, because their layering is off. And a shadow doesn't act like that. As it gets higher and farther away, that shadow gets diffused.
Does fire have a shadow?
Yeah, no, fire does not have a shadow. I'm going to go back. But
fire does.
Right. But a shadow gets diffused. You'll go outside and take a pole and hold it on the ground, look at the shadow, and then start moving it up and away. That shadow gets diffused and disappears.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the shadows do not even line up. And
look at the thrust. Look at that little fire. Does that look like thrust? My blowtorch has more thrust than that thing. Okay. And it doesn't have any kick to it. That thing is lifting up a multi-ton vessel. Okay. That little fire. It's nonsense.
See, look at this. This is what, yeah, it's turning sideways. If that's a rocket, it's already doubled over and crashed.
Absolutely. It's a lighter than air vessel.
Look at the thing. It's flying. It is lighter than air. It's a damn blimp.
Right. It's a blimp. And look, where's the smoke? There's a little dark smoke coming off of there. And look at that fake. It's just so fake when you zoom in on these things. It's ridiculous. And look, they're in the middle of the farm field. Who is seeing this? Right? They got a drone up there filming this. Right?
You got that one where these cows don't even look up.
Well, the cows actually get up and move, but they do that to like, oh my God, they scared the cows. But if you're launching a rocket that could fall over and blow up, do you have a herd of cattle like within 10 miles of it, let alone a couple 100 yards?
And look at this one. It ran out of.
Yeah, look at the cows. How far is that? I mean, that's a tenth of a mile, less. Look, the cows all get up. Oh my God, it must be real. It must be real. Those cows are not there. This is layered. They always add birds. They always have stuff. And if you watch these things, when they cut from camera to camera, the clouds change, the lighting changes, the shadows change.
That looks like the lighter from my no-wind butane lighter for cigars.
This thing weighs thousands of pounds. Look at it just swinging in the air. Okay. And most people, you know what they say? How do you know these are real videos? These look like, fake videos.
Come on,
this
look
is
at that.
SpaceX. This is SpaceX.
How do you explain that, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Look at this one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is the one that is in SpaceX. This is a balloon, just like the other ones, launched by a bunch of kids. Okay.
And the kid says in the video, he says, wow, I can't believe that worked.
Yeah.
Oh my. So they're balloons with kind of a real tough or rigid outer shell, right?
Yeah, this is just a light, very light, and it's got a small engine in it. That's the problem. Yeah. Fill that thing with fuel or water. You're gonna need a 9,000 ton horsepower or whatever to lift it off the ground. Lifting things straight up takes a ton of energy. Okay.
Yeah.
And so look, I just do them side by side. these are lighter than air vehicles, right? And the SpaceX one is helium. This is just air. I reached out to these guys and offered to buy them a tank of helium and do it again with a whole bunch of cameras. I'm hoping they get back to me. But look at that little flame. That little flame we're supposed to believe is thrust. There's no thrust there.
No,
That flame is ready to curl upwards and set the thing on fire.
it is
Okay.
craziness.
Yeah,
Craziness.
and then there was a SpaceX explosion, and they blamed it on the helium tank. Because they use helium supposedly in these rockets.
Did you ever check? You said, I know a guy in one of the comments said it looks like the Hindenburg, and you said you were going to look into that.
Yeah, so the Hindenburg again is another hoax. It really happened, but they did it for a reason because we found many articles, paintings, even some photos that in the mid 1800s there were aircraft size lighter than air vehicles cruising all over the world, across America, across Germany, across the oceans.
Mhm.
They were everywhere, and so this isn't good. If you
And a
want
lot of people don't know it, David, but that spire on top of the Empire State Building was for docking dirigibles.
there you go. So if you want to hide the ball Earth, you can't have a lighter than air vehicle that can literally go for an undetermined amount of time without having to refuel.
Why
right?
not?
Because then we can explore beyond the 60th parallel south, right? No one is allowed to go beyond the 60th parallel without permits. That's
Right.
60 degrees south on the bottom, of the ball. And you're not allowed, even if you do go, you're not allowed to bring extra fuel to, so you can refuel and go even farther. The Antarctic Treaty prevents all people, all independent people from exploring independently. Now,
Here's something good. I want to say this before this rolls by because the chat's rolling fast. A guy named Jeff Kofer.
Yep.
He says, I'm a contractor. I build these things. They're not balloons. You're about to lose a subscriber.
Well, see you, buddy. Sorry, Jeff. You're gaining subscribers on my side right now.
So what's the answer to him?
Yeah, the answer to him is use your common sense. He may have
He's probably building things.
He's probably building real cylinders for rockets. They're just not going to space.
Yeah.
Right. And if he's building small ones, he may even get to witness them launch. They do tests on smaller ones because smaller rockets are launchable. People have an emotional attachment and they refuse to understand what their eyes see and their senses tell them, and they believe known liars. We can prove NASA lies. From the moon landing to the ISS, if you take the time, which doesn't take a lot of time, they're liars. Therefore, everything else they say has to be questioned.
Yeah.
Right?
So some of them are built. So Jeff could literally be working on rockets. Wayne's dad could literally have been working on something.
No doubt. I would put money on it that they really worked on it and that they're not liars and that they had all of the good intentions and they believe everything that they're saying. They're just being fooled.
Yeah. You want to hear something really weird, David, that I just found out about a week ago? My partner, Cynthia, and unfortunately it was before she was, aware of anything. She actually got hit on by John Glenn and had dinner with him.
Okay.
John Glenn. She had dinner with him. She didn't know who he was. I'm like, that's John Glenn. Oh yeah, he said he was an astronaut. So how interesting is that?
That is fascinating.
Too bad that she didn't know what she knows now. She could have had a really interesting conversation with him.
Yeah, it's
because like Wayne says, another thing Wayne says is he sat on an airplane with one of the astronauts and had a big long discussion with him, and that's how he knows it's real.
You know what? These astronauts, some of them, don't. A lot of them, like I think it was Armstrong, wouldn't talk to anybody. He became a recluse. These guys, either they're going to lie or they're going to hide, but they can't come out because they're so deep into this thing, that they can't come out because the retribution is beyond what anyone is willing to deal with.
And one of the most telling things that I still go back to, and I wonder, I played sports, I've won a championship, and I know that thrill of victory. And I remember these guys that I've seen the press conference, and you can go watch it. These guys just went to the freaking moon. They just did the most impossible thing that's ever been done. They
Crazy.
have done the most spectacular thing. The thrill of victory would be off the charts. And if you watch them, they look like their mothers just died at
They have
that
jet lag.
conference. Yeah.
They look,
They,
and they're covering each other's answers. Could we see stars? Oh, no, I couldn't. They didn't know the answer whether they could see
yeah.
stars. And if you can't see stars in space, everything has to be looked at, right?
Yeah.
They didn't see stars, right? But some of them say they did. Some of them say they couldn't. I mean, it's utter nonsense. Again, if you're new to this, and a lot of your listeners are going to be really upset at this because I got upset. They're going to have knee-jerk reactions. Take the time and just take the app challenge. Watch those videos. Go into the archives because you're not going to find it on YouTube. If you want to research flat Earth and you type in flat Earth into YouTube, you are researching ball propaganda.
You know what's weird, David?
Anything. You're not going to get anything.
I have this app that shows me, how to pick out words to put in your video for for people to hit it. And like, if you look at my name, it's up, and now it's really, really high. And I said, well, let me put in flat Earth. And flat Earth is growing in popularity. But if you look at the flat Earth term, it went up and now it's tanking down. I'm like, that can't be right. There's more interest than ever in flat Earth. So they're obviously trying to suppress it for some reason.
Speaking about astronauts, recently a Polish, was it a Polish astronaut? A Polish astronaut was being interviewed, and he's probably getting up there in years. And I forget what the question was asked, but he said that the Earth was flat. He goes, someone asked him about flat Earth, and he goes, "Yeah, I could assure you the Earth is flat." And then he wouldn't talk about it anymore.
Polish astronaut.
Polish astronaut.
Mm-hmm. Now, did Neil Armstrong really tell that little girl, "Honey, we didn't go," or is that a fake?
No, that's real. That's real. He really said that, but you can twist it. You can say what he was meaning is that we didn't go again. It's always, these guys don't come out with something that's definitive because they need a way to worm out of it.
Right.
So that one was interesting. And also there's a lot of suspicion with that girl, who she interviews, who her father is. I don't put a lot of weight into that story. That could be a purpose let out leak where they could say, "Hey, we told you," because they have to tell us what they're doing. That's why they always
plausible deniability.
Yeah, well, it's beyond that. Mm-hmm. On all of the big events that happen in this world, they tell us before they're going to happen.
Right.
That way you could say, "We told you." Like you're not allowed. I think the elite play. It's clear that they play by natural law, which says that if you're going to put a bear trap in the woods, you got to put a sign that says there's a bear trap in the woods. Okay?
Right.
So it is fascinating. Again, people get upset, but Jeffrey, it's people like you that are willing to change your mind. I know that you're willing to change your mind because you're the Christian whistleblower and you used to be a Christian, right?
Right.
So you had a very powerful belief and you changed your mind. I'm not saying whether you're right or wrong, no judgment at all. I'm saying you have the ability to change your mind. That's awesome. And some people are refusing. It was difficult for me, not that difficult because I was awake to a lot of things, but if you take the time to learn, you will change your mind. There's no doubt. The only reason people think they live on a spinning ball is willful ignorance or laziness, because you can say, "I live on a ball. My teacher told me when I was in kindergarten, I saw the astronauts on the moon on television. I'm done." And you don't have to do anything else. And you could hold on to that belief, or you could spend days and days and days looking at research, looking at evidence, non-biased, trying to prove that the Earth is a ball. And you're going to come out the other end knowing we've been lied to. And this is the biggest lie of all. This is the one that keeps us as prisoners in this control system, because if everybody woke up to the fact that we're not a random speck in the middle of a universe and that we are in the center and that we are important, life changes, everything changes, and the elite lose control. The elite are a tiny little speck and we are the rest of this room. Okay. And we follow them because we live in fear. We believe their nonsense on the news. We believe in that this man-made global warming is happening. We believe that, oil is made from fossils. That's not, you ever find a bone in your oil? Never. It always turns into perfect oil. Well, that's because they refine it. It's nonsense. Oil is self-replenishing. All of the empty oil wells are full again. Go figure.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
And Owen Benjamin, you put this one of these videos on your channel where he was talking about, and I checked him out. I'm like, because he discovered that they say that the Earth travels around the sun in an elliptical orbit,
crazy.
and they claim, and if that happened, it would have to happen at a steady rate of speed for obvious reasons. But now they've admitted, and I've read it from NASA, that the Earth changes speed while it goes around the Earth.
That's what
Tell
NASA
people what
says.
would happen if the Earth actually changed speed, slowed up and
I was
slowed
watching
down and sped up.
I was watching a video last night, and it showed like a tub of water in a car that's sitting in a parked car. And somebody walked by the car and literally just grazed the car, just like tapped the car, and the water, you can see the obvious movement of the water. We're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. And people, well, it's only one revolution per day, but things are going by at 1,000 miles per hour, in relation to what
But
you're
it's
going.
much easier to believe one resolution per day than 1,000 miles an hour.
Well, think about this. On a merry-go-round, if it went around one revolution per day, it'd be really hard to see. You'd have to stare at it and go, yeah, I think it's moving. But then expand that merry-go-round to a mile. Well, now it's moving a 24th of a mile every hour. Okay. Now put it to 10 miles wide. Well, now you're going to have a hard time keeping up with it walking. Okay. Well, no, you could probably walk at that pace. But if it was 100 miles wide, you now can't keep up with it on a horse. Okay. And now make it 1,000 miles wide, and not 1,000 miles, the size of the Earth. It's going Mach 1.5.
Wow.
Mach 1.5. And supposedly the air is held with us and spinning around, but the air higher up is spinning faster because it has just to keep up with the Earth, because the Earth is a tighter radius. Okay. But a summer breeze can push the air this way and that way and up and down, and you can fly a kite, but the air is locked to the gravity. It's utter nonsense that we've all been brainwashed just to accept as fact.
Mm-hmm. So it is time here at the end of 2019. If we call ourselves truthers, we call ourselves awoke, we call ourselves open-minded, it's time to challenge yourself and really become a person that asks questions and questions answers. I don't know what side of this I'm on. All I know is that what we've been told isn't true, and it's time for us to realize we're divine, we're sovereign, we're free, and to start asking questions and questioning answers from top down. David, please give information about where we can reach your channels, and also throw out your app information one more time, please.
Yeah. So do you have the link to the app in the description?
I
don't need to put it in the chat. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app on Google Play, Google Play Store, and Apple App Store. Check it out. Take the app challenge. Watch the video every day. Hit the archive button. Bring food and water if you do that. And you can find me at The Flat Earth Podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, or just any podcast player on your phone. The Flat Earth Podcast with my co-host, Matt Long from Woketown. He's got a great YouTube channel, Woketown, one word, all short videos. He's on the biblical side of the fence. I'm on the other side of the fence. So it's an interesting discussion we have. We believe that we're in this created place, and we have different beliefs on how that happened. So, and then my channel, DITRH, it's just the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH, where you just saw all of those videos. But all of that stuff is linked on the app. Check that out, and see what happens in 2020. This world is changing fast, and if you're awake and aware of what's going on, you're going to have a much better time.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. It is time for us to wake up. There's never been a better day than really New Year's Day is made up. It's not real, but there's never been a better day to decide, you know what, I really am going to unindoctrinate myself. For David Weiss, I'm Jeffrey Dougherty, the Christian whistleblower. Thank you for being here. It's time to start asking questions. It's time to start questioning answers. And there's never a better day than today to start doing it. Until next time, we wish you and yours a very happy new year, and that may 2020 be your best year ever. And that's up to you. So let's get busy and make it happen.
Happy New Year.